What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes always deliver the big names. Michael Chandler joins Junkie Radio again. It's been a minute, Michael. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Good to see you guys, man. Junkie Nation, what's up?
Awesome. Hey, listen, the tequila brand Hiatus and you are in a partnership, right? I want to get this straight. You're just not the fighter that's sponsored or nothing like that. It's partnership is different. Sounds like you're along for the ride on many different fronts, not just promoting it, but this is part of your business portfolio, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, man, I've spent my entire career with kind of an entrepreneurial mindset, not just relying on that one fight paycheck, but taking that fight paycheck and then turning it, sending it out and letting it go find friends, if you will. So yeah, this is not a brand ambassadorship. This is an actual business partnership. I made an investment in Hiatus Tequila. I am in the mission that Christopher DeSoto, our founder, started a couple of years ago. And his goal was to take Hiatus tequila for tequila people, that is authentically and true to the actual heritage of what tequila is supposed to be, aside from the new age tequila stuff that's on the shelf. So it's been awesome, and I knew from my first conversation with him that I wanted to be in business with him. I wanted to be part of his mission. So he was courteous enough to let me invest in the company, and now we are business partners, and we are excited to take it to all corners of the earth.
Does this come from the days, University of Missouri, you and the boys afterwards, sipping on some tequila? I know you spent some time down in San Diego. Maybe you crossed that border to Tijuana and came across tequila then. When did the love for tequila come?
Man, it's actually funny, when you bring up, back in the college days and that kind of stuff, a lot of people, and I spoke to Chris DeSoto, our founder, about this, a lot of people's first experience with tequila is not so great, right? You go to a bar, maybe either you're having a shot at tequila or you're drinking some of these other tequila companies that we will not name, but it's just it's not pleasurable. It's not enjoyable. It's not a good taste, right? But once your palate, once you start getting to a place to where you can actually start buying or purchasing or be around people who actually have a love for good tequila made in the right process with the right distilleries and not a bunch of stuff added and rectification processes and some of the stuff that's on the market these days, you start to actually realize, okay, this is what tequila is supposed to be like. This is what an agave spirit is supposed to taste like. So as I got a little bit older and I was able to start, dabbling in buying good tequilas, my love for tequila started probably once I was living in San Diego and then moved to Nashville after that. And yeah, man, it's once my friend introduced me to Hiatus. He said, hey, you got to try this tequila. It's the best tequila I've ever had. Then from the first sip, I loved it. I bought a case of it from Hiatus, passed it around to all my friends. They all loved it. And I said, hey, there's something here. I need to meet this guy. I need to meet the guy who created this. And lo and behold, here I am. He was, like I said, gracious enough to let me invest in the company. And now we're going to be on this mission to spread the word.
Michael, it's been about a little over a year since the last time you competed. And I wanted to ask you, did this pursuit start even before that? Or was this something that I guess you were able to maximize the time that you weren't fighting to, again, add to what you always wanted to do? And that's have businesses across different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was actually introduced to Hiatus a little bit before that last training camp. So late summer, September-ish or something like that. And then obviously everything moved forward, going with obviously the rest is history, me actually meeting the founder and then making an investment in the company. And this has been a pursuit that's been happening over probably about the last year. Obviously we just made the announcement in the last 24 hours, but this to me feels like forever, an announcement we've been trying to make forever. But yeah, we're, as far as Hiatus goes, man, it's been about a year and it's been awesome. And we've built out a team and a strategy, and our growth path actually includes Nevada. So I'm heading out to Nevada for UFC 296, I believe. What is that? The one in a couple weeks. And so we're going to be sipping some Hiatus out there, visiting a couple of accounts because we're going to be expanded to Nevada soon. So we'll have to toast some good Hiatus tequila with you guys.
Yeah, I think I know some guys from Nevada that might be interested in tequila.
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, Michael, so having a business, you're right. This is something that, like, from day one has always been on your mind. You've always talked about that. When we interview you about mixed martial arts, we always talk a little business as well. So it is something that I know you've been talking about. But once fighting resumes, once you get your fight, your date, everything's good to go. How much of it gets put, like, no pun intended, on the shelf, or how much of it is day to day? Like, what role does it play in your life at that point?
Yeah, a lot of it will be being put on the shelf all around the country while I'm training. But I mean, see, the good thing in the way that I've always looked at it is I've been a part of an individual sport, right? I was the 157 pounder at Mizzou. I was the 152 pounder at Northwest High School. I'm an individual fighter at all the gyms that I train at. But without the team, without the training partners training with you side by side, without the coaches teaching you what you need to know, the game plan and the striking, the wrestling, the grappling, all the different aspects of it. Without the people, there is no success, right? So, yeah, I'm not the head of sales, and I'm not the head of marketing, and I'm not the head of I'm not the CEO, and I'm not in all these roles where 24/7 I'm going to have to do all these business decisions. I know my role, and my role is to help with the ideas, to help grow ideas that will help the forward trajectory of the company in coinciding with and in conjunction with the great team that Hiatus has. So right now, I'm not training for a fight, so I have a lot of extra time. When I go into training camp, Monica, our CMO, knows she can't be saying, "Hey, we need you to do 10 interviews in one day." I'm like, "Hey, I'm training," right? So you can it ebbs and flows, but everything ebbs and flows when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to life, training, everything. So I've gotten pretty good at kind of compartmentalizing it all, and I can work on it when I can work on it, and I can be fully and solely focused on training when I need to be training, focused on my family when I need to be focused on my family. And I do a pretty decent job of juggling it all. And like I said, it all goes back to the people. The reason I love Hiatus isn't just because of the beautiful bottle and the actual tequila inside of it, but the people and the mission behind it. And you can't grow without people. And we got some great people. So we let them do their work, operate within their gifts, and I'll operate within mine.
I'm 54 going on 14. So
Yeah.
bear with me here. All right. Tell me if this is the craziest thing you've ever heard or what. Scratch your walkout song and come out to da 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 da, and the whole crowd just goes tequila. Come on, Michael.
Hey, man, that's a freaking good idea. Hey, luckily our CMO should be on the call right now. She's probably going to take.
She's writing it down. She's already writing it down on her pen.
Monica's the mastermind behind.
That's brilliant.
Yes, Monica is the mastermind behind all of our marketing stuff too. That's a freaking pretty good idea. We'll at least do some cool social content or something with that song. But that's genius. I like that.
All right. Now, of course, we miss you fighting in the sport, man. You're the type of guy that we love to cover, guy or gal, because you define the word fight. When you get in there, it's a freaking fight. And of course, it's been a while, and I know that this is tied up with the return of your opponent or whatever, but can you kind of give us, I guess, an idea? Because we just want to see you fight, Michael. We've seen you fight even before Michael Chandler blew up, right? And so we've been on this ride. We heard UFC 300 in April, and then the coach of the opponent came out and said maybe International Fight Week. What can you update us? When do you and the Irishman throw down?
Man, nobody wants a fight announcement more than me. But as of right now, I've just been told it's definitely happening the first half of next year. Obviously, speculation would say that January, February, March, they're all booked. They're ready to announce this big UFC 300 card. I'm sure today was Tuesday. They were a couple miles away from you guys at the UFC headquarters talking about all the different matchups and putting together probably some really cool super fights and whatnot. So when you have a card such as UFC 300, which people have rumored us to be on, I have not been told UFC 300, but I sure would not say no, because that's going to be a nice big card. That I would prefer that. That would be awesome. But you guys know me, I'm always in the gym. I'm training. At this point, I've already waited a year. So what's waiting another couple months? Each month that goes by, I'm kind of like, whatever, man, I'm still on hiatus, so it's kind of fitting, right? Hiatus. I've been on this hiatus for a year, and, there's been a lot of good things that have come from this hiatus, and spending time with my family and finding out exactly who I am outside of just the fight game and being a fighter. But I got a hat tip to Conor and Coach Kavanaugh. You were alluding to Coach Kavanaugh talking about July and all this other stuff, man. These guys are master manipulators of the storyline. They love to say little things that are true or are not true, or they're so blatantly obvious that they sound like they're not true, dropping little breadcrumbs, making you guys, the media, myself, the opponent, and everybody else in the entire world on pins and needles wondering what the real information is. These guys are very, very good at the art of mental warfare and saying whatever they need to, whether it be calling out other fighters, talking about the trilogy with Nate Diaz, pushing it back to July, then talking about fighting in December, then talking about the UFC's keeping me from my livelihood, all these different things that just may or may not be true. So I'm staying the course. I'm focused on becoming the best version of myself for when I do get in there and compete against the greatest comeback in combat sports history. Conor keeps calling it. And I believe I finish him within the first 2 rounds, and then we sip some tequila after.
There you go. But I do want to be clear on one thing, because people will pick words apart. When you say you are willing to fight at 300, but we've established that Kavanaugh said his guy might return in July or whatever. Did you mean you would fight someone else at 300 if given the opportunity, or are you solely focused on McGregor?
I'm solely focused on McGregor. I was merely saying that I believe it's smoke and mirrors, and I don't think they have any intention on waiting till July. But yeah, I mean, I've been asked numerous times, hey, what's the hard date that you say, hey, when I get to this date, I'm calling up Hunter, I'm calling up Dana, and I'm going to say, hey, okay, screw Conor, I want to fight somebody else. I don't have that date in mind. We're going to get to the end of the year. I'm going to enjoy a beautiful Christmas with my family here in Nashville, Tennessee, which I don't always get to do in this beautiful thing we call the fight game. And once the first of the year hits, we're really going to start, putting rubber to the road and trying to figure this thing out. And well, hopefully we get an announcement that first month or so of 2024.
Michael, is this going to feel any different? Because you've had huge fights in your career, belts, accomplishments. But will this one have a different taste, a different feeling because of who he is and because of maybe a little bit of the weight as well?
Yeah, I mean, the weight is definitely going to add a little bit of fuel to the fire. I also been thinking about, like I said, I've done a lot of work on myself of who I am outside of just fighting, right? And I don't need to fight. I want to fight, right? I could lay the gloves down right now, and we're talking about Hiatus, and we're talking about these other companies, we're talking about investments, and we're talking about the business mind and the business relationships that I have. I don't have to fight. I want to fight. I enjoy fighting. So once you get to the point and you cross over to where you don't have to do something anymore to live, but you want to do it, you want the biggest fights possible, man. You guys were my first big interview back in Mandalay Bay or whatever it was. And Randall Allman said, hey, man, my manager said, you guys got to get this guy on, right? And ever since then, that's why we get into the sport. We want the biggest fights possible under the brightest lights against the biggest name opponents. And that's who Conor is. And that's what this fight means to me. That's why I am not changing course or changing direction, because I'm fighting Conor and he's fighting me. He has to go through me to come back to the UFC. So, I'm excited about it. I still believe it's going to happen. I'm 100% positive that it's going to happen, barring any kind of crazy circumstances in this fight or in the future. Man, I just want battlegrounds of epic proportions, and it doesn't get any bigger than me versus Conor.
It's always great catching up with you, Michael. Hope to see you soon in Vegas, and thanks for the time today.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you guys. Yeah, holler at me when I'm in Vegas that week. I'll come by the studio.
Okay, sounds great.
We might even sip some tequila. I don't know.
Oh, definitely. I know I am.